What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you guys can see us now. You know who it is, Ed the Mountie in the house. We got a special guest, Aaron Jolly. Aaron, how's it going, man?
It's going great, man.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. We've covered a good amount so far. I mean, the good news for the people watching is we didn't really quite get so much into the card, except for the opening match with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. But we covered the fact that there were some delays. We covered the fact that it was awesome to see Vince McMahon and see fans and just have that sort of like WrestleMania live feel again, which was awesome. So we love that very much. So going back to what where we left off, Aaron, when it comes to Lashley and McIntyre. It's I don't know who Lashley's next opponent is going to be. I mean, the smart money is maybe a returning Brock Lesnar, but like, yeah, if that's the case, like, do you really see Lesnar losing? I don't think so.
It's a little bit of a sad state of affairs. It's
kind of tricky right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I'm like you. I'm not angry at the result. I'm just like, okay, you know what? Drew, unfortunately didn't get his moment. I'm not all that angry about it, but now it's like, okay, where do we go from here?
Well, this is it. I mean, this is one of those things where it's not necessarily a bad thing, like you said. It could be a very good thing because, let's be honest, because we don't know, it's going to make us want to know. It's going to make us want to tune in. It's going to make us want to check out the Raw and stuff like that and see how this is going to unfold. WWE definitely did a good job on certain things in that matter going into last night and going into also tonight at the end of it. I'm intrigued on a couple of different storylines. I'm upset about a few. I'm confused on a few.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that because, boy, we got a lot to cover. So, that being said, Drew McIntyre, guys, please comment on the screen. Give StreamYard the permission to use your name. I left the link there in the description. Feel free to use that, and then that way I can see exactly who's commenting. And then we're going to put your comments on the screen just like this. So look, going after, Lashley and McIntyre, hard hit battle. I thought it was a great opening match. I really, really did. I felt like it set the tone for WrestleMania weekend. I will say that. Look, could they have started with something else? Sure. In my opinion, the only other match that I probably would have wanted to see first was Cesaro versus Rollins. I felt like that could have been, a big time match. But as I think it was Chris Jericho once said, he says, when it comes to WrestleMania, if you're not going last, you should be going first, or else the rest is very tough to do.
Yeah.
And I think he's right, bro.
I think they want to kick it off with a bang because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the last few WrestleManias have been like this, where the opening match is some title match, one of the title matches.
It's either IC or it's World Heavyweight. They did like Seth Rollins versus Lesnar one year. They did Seth Rollins in a triple threat match, and that was sick. Like they've had some really good matches that kick off the show. They used to do Money in the Bank all the time. And that really, or an Intercontinental Championship title ladder match, they would do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look, that going into that, you're like, okay, we just had this massive heavyweight field WWE Championship match. Where do we go from here? Well, they threw in the tag team turmoil match. Not a horrible spot for that match, I will say. Did I care as much? No, but there was still some good spots in it. There was still some good tags in it. I mean, Lana and Naomi. Look, did they do much? Not really. They had a cool entrance though together. They seemed to fit well. Billie Kay and Carmella again. A paired up sort of duo. I felt like the Riot Squad had some really good moments, which was nice for them because let's be honest, they've kind of been like really lost with like Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, especially both of them, I should say, because we haven't really seen much of any of those guys. And I'm excited. I was excited to maybe see some sort of faction with the Fiend. You know, you got The Fiend, you got Alexa Bliss. Wouldn't it be cool if they could add like the Riot Squad, like Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot? They'd fit. Wouldn't it be cool if they were to throw in a underutilized, you know, player like an Aleister Black? Wouldn't it be sick if they could throw in Bo Dallas as like Bray Wyatt's Fiend's brother or something like that? And then finally, you know, maybe you need a big monster. They're not doing too much with Braun Strowman. Maybe he's your guy. That's like 7 people they're not doing anything with, and they can make something crazy. They can maybe even throw in Nikki Cross. So you have like 4 women and 4 dudes in a faction. We've never really seen that before, man. Like they have the tools in order to sort of do something with it. The question is, are they going to? And we'll get to obviously The Fiend and Randy Orton a little bit later on because that's part of night 2. But let me ask you, other than Riot Squad, look, Natalya and Tamina end up going over in the end, and they beat the Riot Squad in the end. So it's like you're thinking, hey, that's interesting, sort of. They could maybe get that opportunity the next night against, you know, Nia Jax and Baszler. And you're like, okay, that kind of makes it not so predictable. I felt like they had the right teams at the end. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Yeah. Like, I think the right tag team went over, and like you, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, fanboy and say, you know, I was into it because I really wasn't. I really didn't have much invested in this match. But you know what? I think at the end of the day, the right tag team went over because it made tonight's match more palatable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here, because you can go a different way with that. You could have gone a different way. We might as well knock out the tag team match because we're talking about it. Yeah. You know, you could have, like, I was almost a believer for a few minutes that, hey, Natalya and Tamina could have that moment, that WrestleMania moment where they win the tag team titles. Yeah. They haven't done anything with Tamina in a minute. And Natalya, I can't remember the last time she had like some sort of great WrestleMania moment. I feel like she's just there to like
elevate.
And like I felt like, okay, you know what? That could have been a feel-good moment, as you said. We didn't really see any of that like as much tonight. So I was like, that could have been one that we could have, you know, talked about on this show tonight. Like, hey, night 2 had a feel-good moment, and that's Tamina and Natty. And instead, it's like, oh, they came this close, and it's like, okay, but like, you know, here's the thing. In my opinion, what you could have done is you could have given him that moment, and then what do? You elevate the Riot Squad. You know, you have Liv and Ruby beat those guys because it's a little bit more believable. Look, let's be honest. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot coming out of nowhere and beating Nia Jax and Shayna, it's not really super believable. But 2 veterans, you know, they catch them with their guard down, they win. Next thing you know, a couple pay-per-views later, you know, Riot Squad gets their opportunity, and it's a short reign for Natalya and Tamina, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that at this point in their career, they're veterans. So they had the WrestleMania moment, and then they could drop it 2 months later. That's how I would have booked it. Do you agree? Disagree?
I agree. I understand why they decided to keep the belts on Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and that's probably because right now they don't have anything better for them.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, like what perplexes me is the fact that they're not really doing much with these title belts anyway. You might as well put some attention on the damn things. And then, you know, you can even like I said before, instead of like NXT having these NXT championships, you could have cross-branded them over. You could have had like, you know, let's say Tamina and Natty, or even Nia Jax and Baszler going to NXT and having challengers there take them on. They don't have as much talent in the women's tag team as they like to think they have to actually have 2 different titles, which is 4 people. 4.
I'm all for the, you know, cross-brand promotion because, in my opinion, you'll probably disagree. The best match last year, I think, was the Rhea Ripley Charlotte Flair match. I was a big fan of that match because when Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
At least at the very beginning, nobody thought that she was going to go after the NXT title.
No, and I enjoyed that. By the way, I thought I actually predicted that. I don't know if you remember, we talked about that.
Yeah.
And I didn't predict Charlotte winning, but I predicted. Well, I normally do because I just like Charlotte, but but I did predict her picking Ripley because I thought that would have been an interesting angle, right?
Yeah.
Last year's WrestleMania was obviously good. That wasn't my favorite match. I mean, obviously, I think one of my favorite matches was Edge and Orton. Again, non-biased. I'm just saying it was a hell of a story they told there, backstage and everything. And to be honest, I was a fan of the cinematography matches, whatever the hell they call them now, with Bray Wyatt, Firefly Funhouse. I was a fan of the Boneyard match. I thought that was sick. And other than that, I felt like, okay, what do you call it? McIntyre beating Lesnar. I mean, for me, I guess I kind of like that as well. You know what I mean? But hey, look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we could get much more out of this, women's tag team. It was what it was. You know, hey, my hat goes off to the performers. They work hard. Yeah. But unfortunately, there's very little buildup, and when there's no buildup, there's no emotional connection to it.
Dude.
So it's like
I really want to dive into
as an audience.
that.
What are we supposed to think when we watch this?
Well, this is it, and I'm glad you said that because I felt like that what you just said set the tone of tonight's WrestleMania. Yeah. Not necessarily last night. Last night I felt like there's a little bit more of a build. We had a little bit more of a story there and whatever, but I want to just highlight this comment from Freddie on the screen. He was disappointed to not only see that it was the first match, but that Drew didn't win. Plain and simple, that he's over the Bobby MVP era, it seems. So look, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think they wanted to kick off WrestleMania with a big money match. That's something everybody wanted to kind of see. So I guess that's kind of why they did it. Like I was telling you guys before, I would have probably went with Cesaro, Seth Rollins, but again, that's me. They like to put a title match right off the bat, to get everybody kind of jumping and everything. Cool, no problem. But yeah, I understand. Look, the challenge with Drew winning is what would happen with Bobby Lashley, and we're kind of seeing that now as champion, which is not good, but also it's probably in a better spot for him. Like I feel like Drew can rebound off of it, whereas that would have been really weird for Lashley. He really would have been like, okay, so he just beats the Miz. They break up the Hurt Business, and now he lost at WrestleMania. So I don't know. Like the trade-off there probably wouldn't have been as good. Whereas maybe we can see a different side of Drew. I don't know. Maybe they're going to turn him heel. I don't know if that's necessarily what they need to do. But I love a good heel Drew McIntyre. Let me tell you, I'm a fan.
What do you think of MVP as like a mouthpiece, kind of like a Heyman light to, Lesnar, being the, Heyman being the mouthpiece for Lesnar and kind of,
sure.
MVP being the mouthpiece for Lashley, because Lashley was never really known for his promos, right?
Oh no! And first of all, he's not believable when he talks. Like he used to be really more soft spoken than he is now. Yeah. But like I feel that he's a lot of help there, and unfortunately, there's MVP is the guy that really, in my opinion, sort of. How do I say this? Revived. Yeah. Revived. Not just Bobby Lashley's career, but I felt like he really revived Benjamin's career, Cedric Alexander's career. Yeah. And who am I missing? Is that it?
Yeah, that was the Hurt Business.
That's it. So look, I don't like the fact that they broke him up. I mean, I feel like they could have got easily another 6 months out of them at least.
They could have gotten more juice out of that orange, definitely.
Oh my God, absolutely.
And I mean, let's face it. This time last year, Bobby Lashley was in that horrible, cuckold three-way thing there with Rusev and Lana. So.
Oh God, I think a lot of us forget that sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean, we were all screaming and hollering, saying, this is beneath Lashley. It was beneath Rusev too. But I mean, Lashley had so much more potential than that storyline, and now we're seeing it, and good for him.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I'm like most people. It's not easy to yank a title off the Miz after how he won and cashed in, right? Not a lot of people could take the belt off of him that quickly when people were like happy that he won in the first place, and it's just not easy to sort of rebound off of that. Like if they would have had like Drew McIntyre win it right away, then Drew would be booed out of the building. I think all of us know that. But not because he's not a good face. It's just like, oh, well, why did you do that? And why did you do that to Miz and this and that? Like you're that guy that stopped it. You know what I mean? So you never want to get that like over the top face, like, like that Batista face sort of like gimmick, or that Randy Orton, the first time he was a face wrestler after he won the title from Benoit. Like you never want to be that guy. But, going into this match and everything else, look, all I can say is I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. I think that MVP is definitely going to help him from a booking sort of standpoint, from a promo standpoint, and he's just going to help. He's basically going to help carry this whole championship reign, however long it sort of goes.
Yep.
Real quickly, as far as after that match, I'm talking still about night one. Look, Seth Rollins' promo before WrestleMania, when he kept calling him, Cesaro. He kept calling, hey, Cesaro.
All different variations of.
Bro, I have a feeling we're going like crazy to the moon with like Seth Rollins again. Like he might not be that main event player right now, but holy shit, like he's about to be. What's that?
He doesn't need to be. He doesn't need the title. He's one of those guys that doesn't need the title.
Bro, the way he was yesterday, before the interview, I love this whole like embrace the vision thing. I bought the t-shirt last night. He's got a new theme that's kind of a hybrid between Burn It Down and the Messiah gimmick. Mm-hmm. Dude, this guy just keeps reinventing himself. He's like a younger sort of version of Chris Jericho in a sense, where he just keeps adapting, man. He just keeps adapting. Yeah. And I think if he keeps this up, he's going to go down as one of the best to ever do it. Dare I say it? Because he's amazing in ring. He's great on the mic. He's charismatic when he's a heel or face. He's pretty good as well. Dude, like there's not many guys out there that can be third match on the card at night one of WrestleMania and almost steal the show for the whole night, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I felt like this match was in my top 5 favorite matches of the weekend.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the highlights of the weekend.
Cesaro finally getting his moment, bro. Dude, yeah. Aaron, you've been following me on you were a fan of Pile Drive Cast with me and Nate Dogg, right? That they 2013.
Yeah, 13, yeah. 14, around there.
Yeah, end of 13 going into 14, something like that. Bro, like we've been advocates, man, of Cesaro since that day, since before then, like, dude, God, like I can't believe it's been 7 years and finally this guy has a WrestleMania moment for himself where he actually gets a win.
Yeah. I mean, he won, ironically enough, 7 years ago, WrestleMania 30. He won the Andre the Giant
the Battle Royal.
Battle Royal. And everybody thought that, hey, this is going to be his launching pad.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, and he was a Heyman guy.
Yes, and I thought that was going to work too.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think nobody on that roster has been more underutilized than him. You talk to, if you hear in interviews or podcasts, anybody who's worked with him, even pre-WWE, this may come as a shock, but, I'm a big Jim Cornette fan.
I like Jim Cornette too.
Yeah. And, he talks about when he was in ROH as, Claudio Castagnoli, and he said the guy was an absolute machine in the ring. He didn't have any flaws. He was one of these guys that was just, he was made to be a superstar. And for some reason, I don't know if it's personality, if it's that, it factor, but he was never really presented as a main eventer.
Well, in my opinion, like, have you ever seen the movie Little Big League? It's with this kid that he becomes a coach of the Minnesota Twins. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Okay. The reference I was going to do is basically there's a moment in that where he has to cut one of his, like, friend players, if you will, because, like, his grandpa was owner of the Twins. Long story short, his grandpa dies. He takes over as coach, and he has to cut this guy.
Yeah.
And, he says, look, you're not doing it. And he says, well, how the hell am I supposed to hit if I'm only getting to bat once a week? And I felt like with Cesaro, it's like, how do you know he's not a guy? If you never give him an opportunity, come on. How do you know? Like, let him fail. Let him fail on his own. Yeah. All I know is last night he showed up. Yes, he did his airplane spin. Yes, he did the swing. He did his over the top sort of moves and like 1,000 uppercuts and all that kind of stuff. But dude, for whatever reason, I mean, the fans want to see it.
And the fans went wild when he won.
They went wild, including myself. Like I was glued to the tube for that whole match. That was like, I think I might have told you that was the match I was looking forward to the most in the whole weekend. I swear, because I had a good feeling. I was like, no, they're gonna do it, man. They're gonna give it to Cesaro this time. They're gonna give it to my boy, And I felt, don't forget, Rollins and Cesaro are friends, right? Yep. CrossFit buddies, and they're always doing competitions.
They were in ROH together back when he was
when he had hair. No,
black. I was gonna say Sirius Black, but that's Harry Potter. I can't remember his first name, but yeah, when before he joined
Tyler Black.
Tyler Black, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
anyways, history. Yeah, man, and I think that hopefully Rollins kind of like pulled the thin man aside and said, hey, if he wasn't thinking of having Cesaro win that match, I think he hopefully said, look, I got a lot of background with this guy. Come on, give him a little something here, man. Because don't forget, he just signed a new contract. So hopefully Cesaro negotiated that. If he's a good negotiator, like, look, I want to stay here. This is my home. I like it here. Because we know that guy can go somewhere else and kill it, like Rusev or any of those dudes, right?
For sure.
We know that. But he wants to get it done on the big stage, and good for him.
AEW would welcome him with open arms.
In a heartbeat. So I think, like, this is his last ride with WWE to see where it's going to go, I think. I think at the end of his, like, 2 or 3 year contract or whatever he signed with WWE, I think if they're really not utilizing him after the fans want it, then I think it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see what kind of happens. But, we'll just kind of go from there and see what kind of happens right here. Next tag team match you got. This is interesting. I don't know if you actually watched this, but AJ Styles and our buddy Omos.
I did. I did.
Yeah,
our buddy Omos.
Yeah, exactly. So he makes his big debut against the New Day. What did you think about it, man?
He comes down to the ring wearing a long jacket. When they zoomed in on his feet, he was wearing boots, but it looked like he was wearing like designer loafers or something.
Right.
He had what looked like a turtleneck on and a gold chain. Obviously he took off the gold chain, took off the jacket, and he's there in a sleeveless shirt, what looks to be dress pants and boots. And I texted this to you. The way that the New Day, first of all, the crowd went wild for New Day, which, they always do. And I like the New Day. I've seen them at, house shows and stuff like that. And they always put on a good show to entertain the fans. But after their entrance, once the bell rang and the match started, it was almost as if they were working like heels.
I noticed that too.
They were obnoxious. They were dominating. They cut the ring in half. They were mocking AJ. They were mocking Omos. They were working like heels.
Yeah, I know, and it was really like, where did that come from exactly? And like, why did they kind of go that angle? Like, it's one of those things where I would have understood if it was more the other way around. Like, it was like, I understand that the fans were kind of popping for Omos and everything. And so, like, was this one of those situations where do you think they just flipped mid-match or whatever? Like, do you know? Do you have any idea? I mean,
honestly, I don't know. I don't know. They like I said, they were working like heels, and the fans were so into wanting to see Omos come into the match. And they kept teasing it, and they kept teasing it with the hot, and finally he gets the hot tag, and he comes in there, and you know what? I can't find any information on the guy. I don't know if he's ever wrestled a live televised match ever in NXT. His training must be very minimal, but he got in there. New Day sold everything that he did. He didn't have to do much because this is a guy who's going to get by on his size and his look.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be in there and do, topes and, 450 splashes and stuff like that to get over. He got in there and he dominated, and he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good for the limited experience that he has.
Yeah. What did you think of his ring attire? He kind of looked like a bouncer, no? Like a big bouncer.
It. But I mean, wasn't he the bouncer for Raw Underground?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we saw a debut of another guy from Raw Underground. Did you know that?
Tonight
it was. I don't even know. I don't even know his name.
or something. I can't remember his name.
I don't even know his name either. I'm trying to look it up right now.
Dabba-Kato.
Yes, that was it. That sounds about right.
Dabba-Kato. And they're already giving him a name. I looked it up on Wikipedia. It's like Commander something that's Nigerian.
Awesome. Oh man, but yeah, look, I think we'll get into that one in just a little bit. But look, the New Day obviously, made Omos look like a beast. And Xavier Woods sells so well. I remember, like, I don't remember the whole story, but something happened where he was on the steel. He got like hurt on the steel steps. Somebody like really screwed him up badly, and he sold it so well. You know what I mean? And it was just one of those things that I saw, how you said they were kind of working heel, and it seemed like they were working heel at least. And it was just confusing, but also I guess it kind of made sense. I don't know, but like, I don't know, man. The actual match itself was good. I thought New Day had a strong showing. They looked great and everything else. AJ and Omos. I mean, obviously, like, Omos was interesting because he wasn't doing the full, like, how do I say this? Monster heel gimmick. He was kind of like trying to be like, he was just like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. It was like, okay, like, again, to your point, kind of stuff that like sometimes face wrestlers would say or something like that, So look, I'm interested to see where it's kind of going to go at this point. I don't know exactly where it's going to go. But hey, look, we'll kind of, figure it out as we go. Next match was interesting also. Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon. What's your kind of thoughts on it, man?
I was wrong on my prediction.
You had Shane winning?
I thought Shane O'Mac was going to pull it because it seems like he always pulls it out.
Yeah,
he pulled it out last year, through shenanigans and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, right away we had I can't remember the other guy's name, but Wow,
Who-
it's getting really late. The guy who plays the guitar.
Oh, Elias.
Yes, Elias. Thank you. But the other guy, I can't remember his name because he's relatively new. But anyway, they got into it at the beginning of the match. Before he even got in the cage. So it's like, I thought that they were going to have more involvement, and somehow, through that, Shane was going to win, and he almost did. They teased it. I thought it was pretty cool with Braun, ripping open the cage and all that stuff.
Yeah, because we hadn't really seen that sort of angle before. We saw like a cage door break. I think Bobby Lashley, Umaga, something like that.
Yeah.
Did you notice there was a little bit of a Umaga tribute by the guy we just talked about? He did like the Samoan spike.
Oh, no, I didn't.
You didn't pick up on that?
No.
Yeah, right before he gave Big E that big choke slam, he kind of gave him that like Samoan spike. So interesting enough. I thought it was kind of a tribute to Umanga, as William Regal would call. Man, but look, it's getting late, so you're right. So let's kind of try to cover some of these other matches. We've had some.
Yeah,
comments.
I mean, you know what? It's good. Braun, I dig his the train effect before his entrance music and all that stuff. But they're really gonna have to decide what they have very soon with Braun, because I think his whole babyface thing is kind of run its course, or they're gonna have to make him into a serious headliner again sometime soon, because I mean they got something special with him.
With Braun?
The fan, yeah, with Braun. I mean, the fans like him. I think it's to keep it PG. I think it's time to either poop or get off the pot.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things like where we see. I think they kind of missed the boat a little bit on Braun Strowman, and they're just trying to figure it out now. I knew that he would win this match because the whole Be a Star and bully campaign. Anti-bully campaign. So I was like, with Shane McMahon trying to bully him and stuff like that, I was like, this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't work, at least is what in my mind I was thinking. And you know what? I looked at it from that standpoint. For sure, it was over at that point. Especially once you had Gunner, I forget his name now, Riker.
Yeah.
You had Riker and Elias sort of interfere at the beginning, which tells you, okay, usually the face is going to overcome it normally, right? And
Sure.
we'll see what kind of happens from that point on.
Yeah.
But Braun Strowman getting the victory was good. It was good for the message he was trying to send. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of bullying, we got a couple of comments here that I want to address because this is like ridiculous. It's sad you think wrestling is real. Wow, you guys talk a lot of bullshit, I guess. Unreal. Okay, let's just recap. It's 12:44 on the East Coast. You're going through YouTube and you come on my live stream and you're talking crap about me. That's really, really interesting. What kind of person does that, Aaron? I think that kind of stuff, like you're like this small, bro. You're like this small. I don't normally address people like this, but that kind of stuff really annoys me. I blocked him already. It's over. It's done with. But it's just like, for me, I don't understand that stuff. Like, dude, I didn't ask you to come here. I didn't ask you to watch wrestling. I don't come on your channel and talk about Walking Dead or something like that if you think that's real. I'm just saying, that kind of stuff kind of annoys me. So it's like, that's the kind of, and I mentioned that for a reason, not because I'm triggered. It is what it is. That's the internet for you. David Goggins said it best. Here's David Goggins said it best. He says, your haters are always going to hate, and even if you can walk on water, they're going to hate you because they're going to say that, you can only walk on water because you can't swim. I take that to heart. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the bullying thing is the fact because, that's the kind of crap that WWE, tries to sort of campaign against, that kind of stuff. That's why I brought it up. To be honest, I'm glad that Strowman won that match. It's weird because McMahon is like one of those kind of guys that sort of like he's so good as a face. So I don't know why they keep trying to push him as a heel, bro. You know what I mean? Aaron, like what are they doing with that guy? Like he's a likable face, and it's hard to be like that in this industry right now. Is it just me?
You know what, for me it has a lot to do with the look. I think, you know, he has that imposing look. And I mean, when he was a part of the Wyatt family, you know, he initially came in as a heel, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't know, me being an old school wrestling fan, I'm a big fan of the monster heels. You know, that's what I grew up on. I grew up on, you know, Hulk Hogan overcoming these monster heels. So
absolutely.
I don't know. But like I said, regardless if they're going to push him as a face or push him as a heel or even a tweener, it's time to, you know, poop or get off the pot, I think, because
I just don't know what they could do right now. I mean, you know what I might be able to do, and it's tough because, well, actually, you know what, they can maybe put him in a program with Sheamus. Sheamus, as you know, won the U.S. title from Riddle. They're both on SmackDown, right? I think, or is? Oh no, wait, I'm trying to remember right now. They're on SmackDown.
No, Riddle. No, they're on Raw.
Right. So that kind of but Strowman is on. Strowman's on.
He's on Raw as well.
He is, right. So, you know, maybe they can sort of, you know, do a program with that, I guess. But again, you know.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm mistaken. Strowman, he's on SmackDown.
He is on SmackDown because like McMahon is there.
I had to pull up the roster because I wasn't sure. Yeah,
that's it. So I was kind of like, I was kind of thrown off with this. So I don't know what they're going to do with Strowman from this point on. There's a couple of guys that are kind of lost, even with the big victory at WrestleMania. And by the way, it's 6th spot for Shane McMahon to take that from the top of the cage, dude. Like, I thought
he always has to do something every year though to wreck his body. You know,
for a quick second, I thought Strowman was going to give him a power slam from up top. I'm like, well, be careful, fellas, be careful. You know,
if anyone's going to do it, it would be him, simply because he has the strength to be able to protect him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad.
You know, I mean,
that's a tricky. Yeah, exactly. I think it was a good spot, man. Like honestly, it was one of those like, ouch, you know. Like I once like Shane was living there, I was lying there. I'm like, wow, look at the things this guy does for his old man. You know, like I know he kind of does.
Either man, he's now over 50.
Yeah. Like it's almost like Undertaker taking a big bump like that.
Yep.
Think about it. Undertaker's what, 55, maybe 58, something like that. I don't even think he's 60 yet, right?
No.
So I don't know, man. Like, anyways, thank you, Shane, for keeping us entertained, doing stuff like that. Like, dude, that is not an easy thing. Like, dude, that's high, man. That's high up to do a flip and land on your back, dude, bro. Trust me, guys. I've jumped off a top rope before onto a mat. I've done a bump from a standing position. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. I will say that. And him doing that move, adrenaline and everything, like he's going to be feeling that probably for a little while. So that was sick. Honestly, that was the best spot in the whole weekend, right? I think we can agree.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So.
Well, hold on, because that's going to bring us to our next match. You want to talk about the best spot?
Let's go. You're
nice
talking
segue.
about
Nice segue.
Bad Bunny. Right?
You know, okay, so we were together chatting during Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. You know, I wouldn't say that I'm kind of out of it. I do have a teenage daughter, so I am aware of, you know, today's music, and you know, I try to keep up to date with what's hot with the kids nowadays. But honestly, I never heard of Bad Bunny until Royal Rumble. Right. Maybe a couple of weeks before that, because I knew he came out with that song with Booker T.
Yeah.
And I mean, we crapped all over it, man. We crapped all over his live performance. We crapped over him getting involved in the Rumble and doing the dive off the top rope and everything like that. and then they decided to put the 24-hour title on him. But you know what? He changed my mind last night. You could see that this guy is indeed a lifelong wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. Contrary to a lot of celebrities we've seen throughout the years, I think he took his role very seriously. You could tell he had some kind of in-ring training. I'd be interested to know who and where. It might have been maybe Booker T. I know Booker T has a wrestling school in Texas. Might have been Booker T. He might have spent some time at the Performance Center. And you know what? He might have even had, Damian Priest show him a couple of things. With all that said about Bad Bunny, once again, The Miz really shows how valuable he is to the company with respect to not only PR, but now being able to handle a celebrity who has very limited in-ring skills and make him look good.
Absolutely. You nailed it, man. Like this, I said it to my wife, like there was nobody better to put in this situation to help Bad Bunny make him look like a star than The Miz. John Morrison too. Oh my God. Yeah. Like if John Morrison's career doesn't end up going to the main event level that we think he could be at, by the way, the fact that he did this particular match just almost, I want to say it was kind of worth it, like for him to come back. Just because there's not a lot of guys that could make it look as good as what he did, Obviously, Bad Bunny had a big part in that. Like he had to do the moves and he had to, and boy, he sold well, man. Like he sold well. Like they told that story in the ring, bro. Like I'm telling you, I was like you. I was not like a believer, not because that we haven't seen celebrities do well. I mean, hell, we just saw Pat McAfee. He's probably arguably one of the better ones that we saw as well.
Pat McAfee was fantastic in NXT. I don't know why they didn't keep him around, but that's a topic for another day.
Another podcast. But it's a toss-up between these two guys right now. And I couldn't even fathom hearing myself say that at Royal Rumble. I did a TikTok video saying like nobody wants to see him in the ring. And I think a lot of people misunderstood me. What I was trying to say is like, look, WrestleMania is a big show. And there's a lot of talent that are not utilized. We mentioned it before, Cesaros, Strowman's, all these guys. And my point is like it kind of takes away a little bit of the spot from one of those guys. Now, I do understand the demographic. I understand the marketing standpoint of bringing in Bad Bunny and stuff like that in order to, let's be honest, Florida is a population based of English and Spanish. Like that's just how it is. So bringing him in was a genius idea. Genius, and I wasn't against that. But I'm saying my point in saying that is like I wasn't really down with seeing him in the ring. I thought maybe you could do a segment, maybe you could be a manager, something like that. Maybe do a few moves that way. I get enough celebrity fix that way. I don't know about you.
And after Royal Rumble, that's kind of what we thought was going to be his role. We thought, okay, it's going to be Miz against Damian Priest with Bad Bunny in his corner. Yeah.
And then Morrison in Miz's corner, right? Yeah. And now looking back at it, I was like, wow, that was awesome. Like Bad Bunny like shined, man. He shined so much. I was so entertained by it. I mean, dare I say it, like he really he kind of outshined Damian Priest. Like I don't really remember that much that Damian Priest did, and people are big on him, so look, both of those guys did excellent. If you ask me, I felt that Priest was super over as well. Awesome match, great spots. The Canadian Destroyer on the outside, please. I was like,
he took that like a champ, though, eh?
Oh, he made it look so good, and Bad Bunny did a great job delivering it. And the reaction from the Miz in the ring, like, what did I just see? Even Priest was like, where did he pull that out of? And then Bad Bunny was just there on the outside, like, yeah, that's right. But he was like kind of humble but cocky. He was like, yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. But he wasn't like over the top, he was just that's what I can do. Okay. surprise. And I don't know. I really, I'm gonna have to retract my video. Even though I didn't say he was gonna be bad, I was just like, nobody really wants to see him, really. But I was wrong.
And usually these matches are reserved for the, it's to get up and get yourself another beer, or get up and take a leak match or whatever. And I, you know what, I feel bad for the people who did that, because they missed out on something that was really good.
It was awesome. Look,
it was really good. I wouldn't say it was the match of the weekend, but it's definitely up there. I told you before we started recording, it's in my top 3.
Again, bro, we have there's 14 matches in 2 days. If you're cracking our top 5, you did a good job. Yeah. And that's what these guys did. And in my opinion, I think this might have even been like top 3. It was nuts. You know what I mean? Yeah, Freddie, this guy, he's on fire here. That's exactly how he looked right there. This was like 100%. Yeah. So look, there's so much more we could say on that match, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do, and maybe he's going to be on the roster. And look, for a first-time performance on WrestleMania, dare I say it, he did a better job even than Ronda Rousey, in my opinion.
Well, he's doing a tour. I don't know if you saw the promo where he's on top of the bus again. I think that's one of his music videos where he's performing. He's on top of a bus. And Triple H brings him. At first I thought it was an advertisement for Money in the Bank.
Right.
He brought him it looked like a
dude. I didn't see that. Can you tell us what that was about?
So basically, he's on the truck, kind of similar to how his entrance was last night. It's taken from
that was sick entrance, by the way. I want to say that. Yeah. Nice work.
Yeah. So eventually, it pulls to a stop, and you see Triple H come up to the bus, and he hands him. It looks like a case, like a briefcase. So I thought, okay, maybe they're teasing Money in the Bank or whatever. And he opens it, and it looks like a microphone inside.
Right.
And then it switches to a bunch of dates, and it says something like. A music tour or whatever, something in Spanish. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, but don't ask me. So it was something to that effect. So I think it's a lot of give and take. He performed on SNL. He had the 24-hour title with him. So it's he brought a lot of eyes to WWE product. But I think WWE is saying, let's invest in this guy.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Now, especially after seeing what he can do on a big stage, people are like, holy God, basically it's like if you can perform on WrestleMania, the rest is kind of gravy. It's kind of like learning how to drive stick shift or standard first before, and then you go to automatic. You're like, oh, I'm not saying what they do is easy, but what I'm trying to say is the nerves won't be as high as what they are in WrestleMania. You just did WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, bro.
It's not like this was a pre-taped match at the Performance Center where they could have edited and done some post-production or whatever. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, look, that was a sick match. Definitely one of the highlights, not only of the night, but of the weekend. And let's talk about the other one that pretty much almost stole maybe the night, if not maybe even the weekend. Bianca Belair defeats Sasha Banks in a classic 17 minutes singles match, WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. I will say that obviously I like this one more than the Raw one. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't love the build of Bianca versus Sasha. I felt like it took too long to kind of get the decision. I felt like they could have been. I thought it was gonna be like a total, mouthpiece, like promo, bitch slap sort of fest on the stick. That's what I thought. I didn't quite get exactly what I was looking for. It was okay, the build, but I thought it was going to be better. But who cares? When it came down to it, the ladies in the ring, they main evented. They proved time and time again that they can main event. I think it should be going forward. If they keep WrestleMania, on 2 nights, I think the women get a main event from this moment forward, whether it be Saturday or Sunday. What do you think?
For me, this was the match of the weekend.
Interesting. Yeah.
For me, this was the match of the weekend. Just from an emotional level, like I said, I have a teenage daughter. You've met her on several occasions.
Yeah, very nice. Brie mode.
Brie mode, Brianna. I've instilled in her all the great things that I should as a father, being a wrestling fan. She grew up watching NXT. We watched NXT together. She grew up being a Bayley fan.
Yep.
We got to meet Charlotte that SummerSlam weekend 2 years ago, where we met up together in Toronto. She got to meet Charlotte, which was a huge highlight for her. Charlotte called her, "Hi, Queen, how you doing?" And she was like, she was just beaming, Yeah. So I look at someone like Bianca Belair, who's just a natural athlete.
Yes, amazing.
And I know we shouldn't look to celebrities as being like role models, but I feel that this is somebody you could look at as being a positive influence for any young girl who might not be at first interested in wrestling, and then they look at somebody like this who she looks like a superhero with her gear and the braid,
the hair, the body.
She's jacked.
Oh, yeah.
She comes out there looking like a superhero, and that's so cool for a young girl to look up to and say, you know what, like this is I find this interesting.
Yeah.
To hell with Riverdale. I'm watching SmackDown tonight. Like,
well said, brother. Well said. I mean, I think that's awesome that you took it to that level where it's like on a personal note. I like that. Thanks for sharing. That's great. Because look, it's important to install confidence in women at a young age. It's important. Equality is important. Opportunity is important. Rights, women's rights matter, man. Like, these things are huge. I totally stand behind that. That, me as an individual, I have pretty decent morals. And look, I totally agree with everything you just said. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I called that she would be on this level from day one. I knew that she was super talented in ring. I wasn't feeling it at first, but she grew on me. And you know what? You know who else grew on me over the years? I'll tell you who. Cody Rhodes and The Miz. These are guys that I didn't really like at first. And look, and now if somebody talks down on them like they're not doing anything, I'll quickly defend them and say, hang on a second, they've come a long way.
Yeah.
And look, I think Bianca has had a strong start. It wasn't my cup of tea at first, but it was still a strong start. I will say that. But hey, look, looking back at it now, seeing what she could do, shoot. I mean, she's a natural. She belongs in the big stage. She belongs as champion right now, if you ask me.
I think that right now, you have the 4 horsewomen.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the next
wave. The next wave. Yep. I said that.
With her and Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
Io Shirai.
All those people, all those women.
Yeah.
They're killing it, man. They're just killing it, dude. And it's so refreshing to see that, and not see the same for, like, Bayley wasn't even on the show. She was, but she wasn't. She was on the card. You can argue that maybe it was a bad idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't really feeling the segments with her. I'm not really a big fan of the ding dong gimmick. That's me. But
no. To me, that whole gimmick kind of came out of left field. And
it's lame. It's a little lame.
Yeah, and it's unnecessary filter. And you know what? The fans don't seem to be into it either. So whatever.
Some of them do. And look, I feel like they're trying to make, like, that's their 316. That's her 316 moment. And it's like, not even close. You can do better than that,
Yeah.
Look, we'll see what happens kind of with that, of course. But at the end of the day,
aside from the whole emotional, personal level of the match, the reason why I felt it was the best match of the weekend is simply because it told the story that it needed to tell. there was some build-up. You know, they teased the whole, you know, tag team at Fastlane and, you know, the team imploding and, you know, not getting along between her and Sasha. So, you know, there was build-up. Yeah. And, you know, WrestleMania, like I said, WrestleMania serves two purposes. It's to, you know, close off, you know,
and angles
nudes and stuff.
Like
and it's to begin the next year. And I think Bianca Belair is the best female to now, you know, go ahead and represent that division.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like it's refreshing from a SmackDown standpoint. It's also refreshing on a Raw standpoint. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I liked the way Rhea Ripley just came in out of nowhere. Her debut was announced for like a month. She comes in, demands a title shot, gets it, wins it. I'm like I don't like that. You know, I understand why they're putting it on her, but like, why can't we see a little something? Why can't she win, you know, at least a match first, a number one contendership? I don't know. I mean, did I miss something here? I felt like it was just kind of given to her. And like, I don't know about you, man, but like when stuff is just given to a wrestler, I have a really hard time sort of getting behind and actually marking out or getting excited when they actually win. Is it just me?
I didn't watch much of NXT UK. I don't think you do either. She killed it on NXT. She was a great, you know, NXT Women's Champion. But yeah, like you said, I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan. When she won, I posted it on my Facebook right away because right now she's up there as far as one of my, you know, favorite wrestlers, and I think she has the potential to be, you know, the next superstar. She has obviously she has a very interesting look, but she has a look that could, you know, possibly get her into movies or other forms of mainstream media, I think. Anyway, we'll get to that match eventually, but
yeah, look, night one success, in my opinion, the better of the two nights, hands down. We covered a little bit of night two, but I didn't like the way it started. I really didn't like the way. I don't get me wrong. I liked the entrances was sick. Orton's white trunks with the red, I was feeling it. And you know, Bray Wyatt's entrance with Alexa Bliss was pretty cool. I mean,
the whole music box and everything.
Yeah, and yeah.
But where did that music box comes from? Did they get it down there as quickly as they did when the lights were out, or do you think there was some kind of a trap door? Or
I don't know. It seemed like I don't know what they did. Like I don't know if they just put it because you're right, because Orton came out first, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, see what I did there?
Bro, it's getting late, man.
Back in a box out of nowhere. I know we got to wrap this up soon. Even though it's so much fun. Yeah. Look, long story short, Orton wins. Holy moly! I thought if there was a match that, or there was two matches that I thought were like shoe-ins for me to get predictions right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would say three with Edge, but we'll get to that. I was saying, okay, Fiend is going to beat Orton. I'm like, Rhea Ripley's going to beat Asuka. Those were the two that.
See, I wasn't that confident about the women's Raw match.
Come on, really? You thought they were going to screw over Ripley again? Not screw over, but really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Simply for the reasons that you said, it's still a little too soon.
And I think we can agree that it is. I'm interested. It's cool because they gave it to Belair, and now they're giving it to Ripley. Cool, but
that too, I thought because they gave it to Belair that they weren't going to do two title changes.
See, I knew that they were going to kind of give us that Kofi Mania sort of moment, whatever. Okay. Not that they're related, but what I mean is like giving the fans what they were kind of looking for. You know what I'm saying? Because that year it was Kofi winning, and there was a couple other things that we were like, yo, I think Rollins won that year. Yeah. So there was a couple of like cool things like that, right? But yeah, look, I mean, Alexa Bliss, like, what do we think happened? Did Orton do something to her? Maybe, and then that's why, like, I don't know if this is necessarily a split that's kind of happening between Fiend and Alexa. I really hope not. It's been some of the best stuff. Like you're gonna break up the Hurt Business, now you're gonna break up Fiend and Alexa. Come on now.
Look, I'm kind of at a loss of words for this whole, Bray Wyatt Fiend thing, because I think it's been so mismanaged for a while now. I think, okay, first things first, I think it's cool that he kind of had this whole resurrection thing where he came out in, proper gear, that he wasn't looking like, the Toxic Crusader like he did like last time we saw him.
The Toxic Avenger.
Toxic Avenger, sorry.
Or is it Crusader? Anyways, whatever. I know exactly. I really feel like that you nailed it. Like, that's exactly what I said. He's the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I don't know what to make of it. And I mean, when the fans hit the 3 count, the fans crapped all over it. You heard resounding boos.
Oh yeah, right away. Even like they were booing when the lights went out and Alexa and Fiend were gone. Yeah. And I think was the box gone too for
the box was gone too,
bro. Like, how did they do that? It must have been a trapdoor.
I don't know.
Tunnel, something like that.
I'm thinking maybe we might see finally the manifestation of Sister Abigail. I read that somewhere online that Alexa Bliss has now officially transformed into the Sister Abigail character that we've been hearing about all these years.
Okay.
That's a rumor I kind of read very quickly, because right away I had to go online and see what other people thought and what their, what possible explanation there could have been.
Well, that would work for me though. That would be okay. The payoff there would be sweet,
Yeah. But at the same time, it makes the Fiend look weak.
It does. And it doesn't exactly make Orton look super, brutal either, because like, it's not like you destroyed him. You just beat him. You beat him on a quick pin. Okay, you hit him with the finisher, but
And I understand why, Goldberg beat him at, what was it, Crown Jewel or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because this type of character doesn't need to have the championship.
Agreed. That's fine. But to lose,
but that weakened him. That weakened the character. That weakened the whole mystique about the character.
On WrestleMania too, on top of it.
And I think, it just
it's a little mind-boggling. I agree.
He was written off of TV for what, 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah, and he comes back. That's why I was like, he's gonna come back.
It's like a fart in the wind.
Bro, like, don't tell me for a minute that Orton needed that win. He did not. And I'm wearing a sweater right now.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I understand, but like, that was one of those situations where, look, we'll see how it plays out. We could talk about this 6 months from now and be like, wow, that made total sense. Right now, it doesn't to me. But hey, that's what wrestling is.
I think it's the lack of explanation that just is pissing off a lot of fans.
Well,
because it came out of nowhere, really. It's like we're sitting at home and we have the announcers in our ears, and even the announcers are like, "What was that?"
Yeah.
So imagine being there in person without having Michael Cole giving you some form of dialogue over what it is that you're seeing.
Good point.
You got to be just as lost, being like, "The hell is this?"
Yeah, what happened here?
Did I miss something?
It's like our guy that we've been waiting to see on the big stage too comes in. He's got a slightly different look, right? And then you're thinking, okay, he's gonna like light Orton on fire. That seems to be the trend. Instead, you get couple of moves, quick match, curtain jerker again, and it's over before you know it. Alexa Bliss is full of black. There's no explanations. Orton just kind of takes off, and we're just kind of like, what is happening right here? So look,
given the result, I'm happy they put this on first.
Agreed.
Because had this been on later in the card, I think we would be even looking at it even worse.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. So look, I don't really fully understand it, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. We'll see where this kind of goes for Orton. And again, maybe this is like a way to protect Orton. So because he's going to go after Ric Flair's record, him versus Cena for number 17 one day. Who knows? I don't know. But him beating the Fiend is definitely leverage for him to say, hey, look, put me in a program with Bobby Lashley. It's very, very possible. We'll see what happens. I want to say what's up to Everything Pro Wrestling really quick. EPW, Conrad, he's part of the Six Pack. Love you, brother. I hope everything's doing good. I hope to work with you again real soon. And he was asking, is Bray done to you guys? I mean, look, man. Fucking no, but WrestleMania has not been kind to this man. This is another opportunity that WWE possibly squished with him. The first one was John Cena, as you know. John Cena winning over Bray Wyatt at the time was a big mistake, if you ask me. And this might be another one of those situations. And look, you got the two Breakfast Club guys, Orton and Cena, are the guys to kind of do it. And it's like, man, come on,
You think he should have went over the Undertaker?
I do. At the time, also, like in hindsight, like instead of Roman Reigns, you could have had maybe Bray. Look, in a perfect world, I would have had Bray totally beat this streak instead of Lesnar. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to agree with me. That's okay. You could have done CM Punk. You could have done Bray Wyatt. But either way, I think since we're talking about Bray Wyatt, I don't know if he's done, man. But I just think it's a little sad because they got something big here with the Fiend, especially the Mystique, like you said, and everything else. And I'm a little bit confused. And I know we got to see where this kind of goes, but I like this is one of those. How are you going to explain to me that this was a good idea? I don't understand that. It's the end result. No, it's not how. What's
the payoff?
Like they could have done that afterwards. You know what I mean, or something. Like I feel like the fans kind of really wanted to see Orton lose that. I don't know, and it just coming back after 4 months, this and that. Well, look, it's definitely made it less predictable. So I'm grateful for that, right?
Yeah. That's often what you hear with these podcasters who've worked in the business and worked in booking and stuff like that. It's not so much getting there, it's what's the payoff,
right?
And to me, and once again, this is a common thing I keep bringing up with WrestleMania, is that WrestleMania is supposed to be the blow off, and to me it's like we're left now with more questions than we did going into it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really well put. Hey man, look, five. It didn't even hit 6 minutes bell to bell. I mean, for a show, or for a angle that was the hottest thing on Monday Night Raw for like what months? You only give them like not even 6 minutes was a little strange to me. But look, again, I'm super interested to see where it's going to go. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed my shot.
That was for you, buddy.
I appreciate that. I needed that after watching that opening match. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Look, Logan Paul was there. We don't have to go into too much detail here. It was a good match. We're not going to lie. It was a good match. But, like, what was the point of it? Like, again, it kind of felt like not really a filler match. I wasn't really.
It was a filler match.
Okay, fine. You can say it.
Sorry. You're entitled to your opinion. Me, it was a filler match.
I've been enjoying Sami Zayn's conspiracy angle. I love it. But man, he just always seems to look super weak after keeps losing. It's unfortunate because he's a great talent. They finally got something with him. He's showing a little bit of his mic skills and stuff, and I'm feeling it. But like, him and Kevin Owens, I feel like we've seen that quite often. I felt like it didn't have a great story behind it. They brought in Logan Paul. Okay. They have like this little moment at the end and you're like, oh, wow, great. Kevin Owens is going to stun him like Austin. So it's like, but like, who are you, dude? You're not Austin. You're Kevin Owens. So like, why are you ripping off a Stone Cold Steve Austin moment when you're not Stone Cold Steve Austin? I think it's weird. I think it's watered down. Is it just, Like, I don't give a shit about him having the stunner. That's fine. But like,
ironically, I was FaceTiming with Bremo during this match, and at the end, I flipped around the camera. She's like, "Why is Logan Paul there?" First of all, she thought it was the other. She thought it was the other one. I can't remember.
Jake Paul.
She's like, "Why is Jake?" I'm like, "It's Logan Paul." She's like, "Okay." Mind you, she's 13, so she knows who these people are. But she's like, "Why are they there? Why is he there?" And I'm like, "Oh, just keep watching." And then, within 5 seconds, KO gave him the stunner.
Right.
The only thing I liked about this whole angle was Kevin Owens' KO Mania 5 T-shirt with the Mega Powers colliding, and like it's his face like twice instead of like Randy Savage and Hogan. Like that was the best part of the angle for me. I mean, we're two Montreal guys, so I mean, we know whenever you get Sami Zayn and KO together, it's going to be a good match.
Absolutely, not denying that. Let's make it worth something, though.
What's the payoff?
None, in my opinion, really. So it's a little disappointing. Look, no doubt in my mind, like if you throw, that's the kind of match that you kind of needed a title. I felt, like a US or an IC or something like that, like something on the line. I felt like could have been a little bit better, but that's just me. You know what I mean?
Could have
been much better than this. I feel the fuse. It was super thrown together. I totally agree. And there's kind of like a very similar theme to tonight's WrestleMania night 2. A lot of these matches, I felt like I wasn't really super invested in the storylines as much. We talked about Ripley and Asuka. I wasn't into it. This random tag team match was out of nowhere. Okay, and then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens was another one where I was like not really feeling it. Sheamus and Riddle, there was a little bit more substance there.
A little bit more meat on the bone.
A little bit more meat on the bone, and it had a good finish. Look, it was a great match. Arguably one of the best matches of the night. I will say that. I will say that. Ideally, it really came down to, in my opinion, Sheamus and Riddle or the triple threat at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But from a bell to bell, in my opinion, Sheamus and Riddle, best match of the night.
Yep.
Yeah, you agree?
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, dude. Like, that's a really good point. Yo, bro, it's so true. This match, this show had the WrestleMania 31 build. Very true. Because like at that point, other than like Rusev and Cena, it was kind of like, what else was sort of like memorable? You know what I mean? Look, obviously a triple threat match with Roman and Lesnar was sick at that time, WrestleMania 31. But look, ideally, Sheamus and Riddle, great match, loved it. I think it was one of those matches that was kind of like under the radar. I didn't really like think too much going into it. I don't know. Were you expecting it was going to be as good as it was?
Which match are we talking about?
Sheamus and Riddle, U.S. title.
I'm big on Riddle. I
like Riddle too.
You know what? Let's call him Matt Riddle. I mean, come on. It's I don't understand the whole marketing thing behind the whole one name business. Matt Riddle. There was the nice little moment there with him and RVD backstage with the rolling papers and everything.
That was funny.
Yeah.
But like, why does Finn Balor get 2 names and Matt Riddle can't get it? I don't get it.
Because he has the Balor Club. I don't know.
Let's talk about that bro kick to the moonsault, sick off the middle rope, bro. The finish.
That busted him open, man. And
bro,
shot at the end of the match too.
Look, honestly, the build going into the match. I mean, look, Sheamus had his hands full with McIntyre trying to get a spot, so it was kind of thrown together. However, I will say that I felt the passion and the sadness and the anger from Matt Riddle at the end of that match. I felt bad for him. Yeah. I felt like, man, that sucks that he doesn't have the title anymore, Yeah. And it's been a long time, bro, since I felt that, like, that sort of feeling. There's only a couple of guys that I could really say, like, I felt bad for. One of them was Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, or was it something? And back in the day, and he was outside, and he was like almost crying. That was one of them. And then there's obviously other ones that I can't think of right now. But the point is, Sheamus winning the U.S. title, I don't know what it really does for him. We'll see. I think it's interesting. But I thought Matt Riddle was going to win this match. I'm surprised that he didn't come away with the victory here.
Same here. I mean, I think they just gave it to Sheamus to kind of keep things interesting. They know that, he's a solid hand. He's a reliable guy. He'll do house shows, once they start opening things up more in the States. Yeah. It's he's good PR. He's on a lot of times he's on Xavier Woods' podcast, and he's on different things. Even though he's supposed to be a heel, he comes off as a babyface in real life, and he's a good interview. So maybe they're just rewarding him for that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think McMahon also is pretty high on Matt Riddle as well. I mean, I know he's I'm okay with Sheamus getting a little piece, man, because I've always liked him.
Yeah,
I always liked him.
I wasn't mad, but no. I'm with you on that, just because I'm a Matt Riddle fan. I was disappointed to see him lose, but it's not. We'll get to the main event, but it's I didn't have the same reaction as I did following the main event. Put it that way. No, and another one too. We talked a little bit about Apollo Crews getting a hand from that big guy from Raw Underground, so that was interesting. A couple of cool live entrances tonight. Wale did a really good job, and also I don't know the group that does Rhea Ripley's theme, but that was well done too. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, both matches not really worth super. I mean, Apollo and Big E was good. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. I was into it. It was different, and it had and Apollo winning is cool because it really gives him something finally. And I've been a fan of this new gimmick of his. I know not a lot of people are. I think it's going to be better than what people are giving it credit. And not only that, the fact that Big E loses this match and how he lost it, especially, interference and whatnot, it doesn't hurt his character, and he can go on to the next best thing.
Yeah,
maybe challenging Roman Reigns and maybe being the guy to take down Roman Reigns at this point. We don't know what's going to happen. So that kind of segues into the main event. We can kind of cover. Because it's really getting late, and I apologize, but WrestleMania.
But just to follow up with the Apollo Crews match, like you said, finally they're doing something with him.
It's been a long time, man. Years.
I liked him even before he joined NXT when he was Uhaa Nation.
Yep.
In NXT, he killed it in NXT. He was a huge fan favorite in NXT. And I think even there, he never really won a title. I think maybe he might have gotten a title shot, but he didn't win it. And then once again, he's one of these people they brought up to the main roster. They probably, probably WWE creative with their famous, we don't have anything for you. And
they were calling him up real quick, I recall.
Yeah. And it's nice. It's. We're not going to get into the whole, characterization of the African prince and, all that stuff or whatever. Because
no, but it's intriguing, bro. Look, it's kind of like the AJ and
at least
AJ
they're putting
almost there, his own little thing there.
They're trying to at least modernize it. I mean, he's not coming out like Tony Atlas when they made him Saba Simba, but
good point.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested to see where both characters are going to go from this point. So this match had a good payoff. I feel like both of them. It was well done. It was a good match, good payoff.
I liked it.
Nobody's going to talk about that match and the payoff that's going to happen. But the reality is that, in my opinion, is one of the three matches or four. Maybe like three of them that really have some substance that they can build both characters going forward. Okay, we're starting fresh, new slate. You go here, you go here. Makes sense to me. I like it.
Yep.
I wasn't a fan of the finish of the main event. Roman Reigns Edge, Daniel Bryan. Bro, I'm not gonna go too crazy on this because it's late. But
I'm gonna lean back in my chair too because I have a lot that I could say about this match too.
It bothers me that we're supposed to, think of this guy as our tribal chief and he's the man and he's the best thing on wrestling right now. Where he just keeps needing the help from his damn cousin. Like, that's the kind of finish you would see at a Fast Lane, at an in-between filler pay-per-view that, like, they're coming up on the spur of the moment, like a friggin' roadblock or a whatever, I do not like the finish at all. I do not like the fact that Edge wins the Rumble and he doesn't get that payoff. I was worried last night when right after WrestleMania, they were doing another sort of like WWE sort of documentary sort of on Edge. And I'm like, why are they doing that now? I'm like, wait, they did the one from his comeback injury. They did the one him preparing for WrestleMania. I don't like that. I'm like, that doesn't brood well. Normally they would wait, and if he wins the title, then they do the documentary leading up to WrestleMania, having the WrestleMania moment, and it comes full circle. So last night I heard that I was really worried. I said, that's not good for him. So sure enough, great match. Daniel Bryan being inserted in it and all that other stuff. Roman Reigns looked okay.
But that's it. Roman Reigns looked okay.
That's it. He looked okay. To me, he looked okay. He didn't.
The highlight of the match was when Bryan and Edge both had him in the crossface at the same time.
Sick. Yeah, that was cool.
That was a nice visual.
The spear on Edge off the steel steps. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the power bomb it was Roman power bombing Daniel Bryan onto the table, breaking the table. Look, it had me on the edge of my seat. I'm not gonna lie, to some degree, but what the hell, man? Like, what are we doing here?
I was anticipating the Edge win. When I saw Jey Uso storm the ring, I said, "That's it."
Yeah,
that's it. And like you said, we're expecting Roman Reigns to be this character that's supposed to be this monster dominant, strong.
It's chicken shit.
Alpha.
Chicken shit heel.
It's chicken shit. It's Miz relying on Alex Riley type of stuff.
Good reference right there. Yeah, absolutely.
It's chicken shit heel. And
it's the same thing month in and month out since he's had the title. And you're telling me you couldn't come up with something better for WrestleMania? I understand that you're trying to maybe protect Edge character going forward, but for what? There was nothing to protect. He was supposed to win this match. Bryan should have. If you wanted to protect Roman Reigns, like, here's how you do it: you have Edge beat Daniel Bryan, right? And then that way Roman gets super mad, and then he goes on another level of destructing people without people's help, and then you can and then it's okay for him to lose the title.
Yep.
Or what you can also do is have it like so. Okay, I'll tell you another situation. What I would do. You have Edge give. You have Daniel Bryan late in the match, near the finish. They're about to go home. You have Daniel Bryan give the high knee to Roman Reigns. And then he gets like kind of shook up. He kind of gets thrown off a little bit. It's a quick 2.5. You think the match is over, but it's not. He kicks out. And then he just kind of gets up. He's kind of out of it, but he has enough wherewithal to kind of throw Daniel Bryan out of the ring. Roman turns around and gets speared by Edge. 1, 2, 3. Done. Now you have an angle where Edge is your champion. Roman Reigns can destroy Daniel Bryan in a monster heel way. And that's his first step of becoming the real tribal chief, not this chicken shit tribal chief. And then you can build up that character, win the title back at some point, and then face The Rock in whatever, a year or 2 years or whatever that they plan on doing for that.
Agreed.
Now what you have is Daniel Bryan and Edge both getting pinned. Like, it was a chicken shit way out. He takes the concerto. Jey Uso is there. He gets his shit in a little bit. from an interfering standpoint. And the reality is, I'm supposed to make it seem like he's the tribal chief because he pinned both of them. Okay, first and foremost, the only reason why Brian is down is because of what the work that Edge did, and then the work that you did was because of your cousin. And I'm supposed to believe that you're like this great champion. Like, I know, look, bro, wrestling is wrestling, bro, but like, I just think that out of all the potential angles you could have went with, that was the best you could come up with your part two. I don't like to complain too much about wrestling, but for me, this was a huge letdown.
And it even goes beyond that.
Like, way to make people hate Roman when he's a heel. You know, like that's stupid heat, bro. That's not like, in my opinion, it's like now you're making people not like him again. When you're supposed to like him as a heel, if that makes sense, you know. But I don't get it, man.
It's lazy booking and it's cheap heat. And you know what?
Cheap heat, yeah.
And you know what? You know what would have been the nicer send off instead of him posing in front of the hard camera, looking all big and strong, and look what it was.
Big and strong.
Guys, fireworks going off and stuff. It would have been great if he would have rolled out of the ring, selling his injury, holding up the title, smiling, having Paul Heyman slapping him on the back, laughing, having Jey Uso slapping him on the back, laughing, saying, "Ha, we screwed these guys over." But no, they had to have him pose, look strong, even though he had to rely again on Jey Uso. And like you said, it's been a consistent thing. It was same thing at Royal Rumble when they were fumbling for those handcuff keys for like 5 minutes.
Oh
you know,
God.
It was like it's
that was bad too.
It's lazy, cheap heat and lazy booking.
You got to do better than that for your big show, man. This wasn't just WrestleMania, Aaron. This was the first WrestleMania where fans are back. It's like you took the opportunity to be like, since you're all back now, I'm going to slap you in the face again. Like, what is that? What is that? Like, for me, the correct answer was to give it to Edge. That's it. It's done. It's done. You can easily it's a triple threat match, bro. Like, you could have easily protected his character and then did some other stuff afterwards, and maybe even have him win it back soon. Whatever.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's what I was just gonna say. Have him.
Sure.
What is it? What's the pay-per-view that's?
I
keep saying Payback, but it was Fastlane that was last month.
Backlash. Maybe?
Yeah, Backlash.
Yeah.
Have him win it back at Backlash if you don't want to keep the belt on Edge. But I mean, they want to talk about putting smiles on fans' faces and all that.
Send the fans home happy.
That's it. Sending the fans home happy. And I think we actually discussed this one time on one of your other videos like this, where you were talking with Malik and
Sean.
Yeah, and I had brought up the fact that it's very, very, very rare that WrestleMania main events end and go off the air with the heel standing strong.
Mm-hmm. It's happened a few times with Lesnar and stuff like that. But I agree.
You know, and then Rollins, of course, there with the famous cashing in Money in the Bank and the swing of the belt and all that stuff.
That was so cool.
But for the most part, I mean, it's recipe 101 where you have, you know, the heel, not the heel, but the face standing strong at the end as camera goes off the air.
Yep.
And if they were going to do it with Reigns standing strong at the end, don't book a BS ending. If you're going to have them go over strong. Yep.
I totally agree. Oh, man. Look, WrestleMania came and went. Night one, better than night two.
Definitely. The
send-off, a little bit lackluster. The whole night itself tonight felt lackluster. It was unfortunate, but I'm glad it's back. I'm glad that there's fans. Not to say that we're going to see that anytime, maybe soon. Who knows? I don't. Next year in Texas, I can guarantee you it'll probably be a stacked stadium. We'll just say that right now.
You gonna buy your tickets now or what?
Oh, dude, we'll see. But we should probably wrap this up. You know, it's 1:40 here on the East Coast. If anything, worst case, we could kind of do another one later on this week or something like that and talk a little bit more. Yeah, but thanks a lot for joining me, man. This made it a lot more fun and stuff like that, you know.
Definitely.
Had a good time with you. And thanks a lot for the guys in the chat, keeping it interesting. For sure, you know, WrestleMania is done, guys, but we got another season just coming up and, you know, a lot more videos to come. So keep an eye on that.
Aaron, Raw for WrestleMania is always the best Raw of the year.
Yep. So I'll be tuning into that tomorrow. Hopefully you are too. And, you know, we'll do another podcast soon. So thanks again, guys. Aaron, really appreciate you, man. You know, tell people where they can find you.
Where they could find me? You can find me on Facebook. No, you know what? No, in all honesty, I had my YouTube channel going where I actually do a lot of cooking. That's it's been a little bit on hiatus simply because of COVID and me not being able to go out to all the grocery stores and get all the necessary ingredients. So you know, I cook for myself, but you know, definitely within the next few months or so, once things start opening up again, you know, I'll definitely bring those back. And you know, it's for guys like you and I who have limited skills in the kitchen, but you know, if we want to cook for ourselves or cook for our ladies, you know, simple stuff.
Go check out Aaron's channel, guys. All right, brother. Thanks a lot for being here, man. Really appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. Rippin' baby. See you guys on YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is. Have a good one.